Yeah, welcome all to the Five Stack. My name is Dean, deanblundell.substack.com. Oh, just had a brain fart. Everybody's kind of piling in now, which is really nice. Bit of a delay. We're going to try and figure out yesterday's issues. Sorry we didn't post the full Five Stack yesterday. You can kind of go through our timeline and have a look at it. We had a couple of technical issues. I think we sort of figured a couple things out. At least I fucking hope so, because yesterday you get on a heater and all of a sudden you're on this heater and people are piling in and boom, it freezes. And I'm seeing everybody go, it's frozen. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's fine for me. And then it ended and I looked like an idiot and then we had to start again. But anyway, we're going to try and figure it out today because we've got a lot of stuff to get to. And we're just really happy everybody's here today, Sev, right?
We are very happy. It's Friday, which is an amazing thing because it's been a long week.
I'm a big Friday guy. Like sometimes I wake up in the morning because we live these nebulous kind of, calendar free days doing this kind of content. And if I didn't do a daily Dean newsletter, which is free, by the way, you get the 5 biggest stories of the day the democracy lovers need to know about in my Substack. Please feel free to subscribe, totally free of charge. And I'll go, oh my God, it's Friday. And I still get those funny feelings in my feet when I know that it's Friday. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God. And listen, every day is Friday for me because I work for myself. We're autonomous. You do the same thing. But I still feel like I should get up to no good on a Friday. Like I need to go look for trouble on a Friday.
I do feel like I need to celebrate the end of the week by the time I get to the end of the week because, you've achieved so much during the week. Most weeks I'm like flat out Monday to Friday, as I'm sure you are. So
yeah,
by the time I get to Fridays, I'm like, okay, let's get it all done. Let's put our feet up a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes the news just seeps into your Friday nights, into your Saturdays, into your Sundays, you name it. But I try to keep it as preserved as possible.
That's the shitty thing about doing this gig. Like, listen, I love it. Like, my lifeblood is showing up to these 3 o'clock 5 stacks. My boy Dimitri's in the house. More beer on Friday than Monday through Thursday. Yeah, you're right, Dimitri. Love that American flag. And we'll show up, and I'm really excited to do this, and really I love it. But like by like 5, 6 o'clock, because we've been going since like get up at like 4 or 5. And it's like a good 12, 13 hours. And then some fucking massive news story will break. Like Kimmel gets fired. And it's like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, oh.
They do it on purpose. They do it on Fridays. The Friday night news dump is a very deliberate pattern by the White House. They like to do it. So hopefully we'll get away without one in the next couple of hours. But
that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It's generally stuff they don't want published is they do it on Friday night because they figured everyone is in the same state of mind as you and I. But some people are still there watching the shop. We will be.
Yeah, we are. And a very nice listener, and I apologize. I usually like to get people by the name. Hi, Guy Langevin. Nice to see you. Good to see everybody kind of streaming in here. We've got a couple hundred people that are filtering in to get ready for the 5 stack. We got 5 big stories. Elizabeth, you're my favorite 5 stack.
Thank you,
but she's apologizing. This little young lady just apologized. She says, sorry you have to do all that. No. It's the greatest privilege of my fucking life. Like being able to have a straight pipe into people's emails, to be able to comfort them, warn them, and we're going to talk about a few of those things like the Trump media takeover today. We'll get to Kimmel, get to some really, really disconcerting information about TikTok. Your Greatest Heist series is out. We're also going to talk about free speech, et cetera, et cetera. And now the pushback Ted Cruz has come out against, which is unbelievable, Donald Trump and his mafioso FCC chair, Brendan Carr. But it's the privilege of my life to be able to do this. So please don't apologize. God, Charlotta Jensen from Sweden is in the house. We love you and we're grateful to be here. It is not a burden to be able to kind of be your information Sherpas from time to time. We
especially
love it.
considering, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there, but especially considering what's going on now with Kimmel and everybody else. I mean, there are a lot of people who are losing their microphones, their podiums because they simply are not being allowed to by the Trump regime. We're privileged to have these microphones and being able to access you directly and hopefully for a long time. Hopefully that'll maintain itself. But if, as long as it does, it's a total privilege and a real honor to bring you the top 5 stories of the moment. And we begin at number 5. The Trump administration is preparing to classify transgender Americans as violent extremists following Charlie Kirk's murder, with FBI Director Kash Patel telling Congress they're examining the entire spider web of what they're calling gender ideology extremism. 2 national security officials confirmed the FBI will treat trans people as a subset of their new nihilistic violent extremists category, conveniently created to replace Biden's classification that covered January the 6th rioters. The administration is exploiting Kirk's death, obviously, even though the shooter's connections to trans issues was merely that his lover was transgender. And even all of that is not really proven yet. There's so many questions about the shooter and what his motives were. It's too early to really qualify it. But that is the word on the street, that they are intending to classify trans people as extremists.
Yeah, they're looking to get a bill. They want a designation for, quote, trans ideology-inspired violent extremism. TIVE, T-I-V-E. It's got an acronym already. I went through this today because they put out the Oversight Project and the Heritage Foundation. Of course, it came from the fucking Heritage Foundation, which is fucking, they own the Daily Signal. Donald Trump owns the board. Donald Trump owns the Heritage Foundation. These are hard right.
Russia actually owns the Heritage Foundation.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they filter a ton of money into the Heritage Foundation. And the goal is to make America look like Russia. The goal is to, completely destroy the idea that it's an accepting, hopeful country for people who are LGBTQIA. Not going to do the rest of the acronym because I don't know it. Let's just go with LGBTQ community and specifically the trans community. Now, the weaponization of the death of Charlie Kirk will go down as one of the most incredibly unbelievable psyops ever conducted on the American fucking people. Because not only are they using Charlie Kirk's memory, having a day of remembrance, National Day of Mourning, October 14th, by the way, they've designated that day. Not only are they using the memory of Charlie Kirk to end free speech in America and end free press and to consolidate media, we'll get to that in just a minute as well. They're also using the shooter's alleged boyfriend who is trans to frame the entire fucking, by the way, who did nothing wrong. Just sat on the other, if you're to believe the FBI narrative, sat on the other end of some texts and is cooperating with the police. So what they're doing, this gentleman was not trans, by the way, Tyler Robinson. What they're doing is they're connecting with the loosest of chains, a bill that tells the world and makes it illegal to be trans, makes you a fucking terrorist if you're trans by the very definition of the bill that has been introduced by a hard right, super mega fucking evangelical Christian cult lobby group named the Heritage Foundation and the GOP's Oversight Committee to force trans people into a small cup. Keep in mind, this is 0.02% of the fucking American population, a tiny little cup of people who you just get to call terrorists because of their sexual or gender identification preferences. That is the best explanation I can give you. And that, my friends, is fascism, that is authoritarianism, and that is a theocratic dictatorship at work to go and hurt, marginalize, and destroy the trans community in the United States of America.
You're so right to point out that there's no evidence linking, really, this guy to being a trans person or anything else like that. There is some evidence, or so the police claim, that the mother of this person said that he had been drifting leftwards in his ideology and had become more pro-LGBTQ, but that's the only evidence we have. This, supposed text exchange between him and his boyfriend / alleged boyfriend looks completely made up. I mean, when you really read it, it does not look like it's really strong, real evidence. It looks like it's a
fits an incredible narrative that they started prior to the actual shooting.
Yeah. And don't forget, we were looking, for this before. We know, it was a few weeks ago, you and I were pointing out that there was another shooting and that suspect was transgender. And I said, well, this fits into their narrative that they've been trying to build for years. So we've been looking for them to be doing this. So it's bizarre. And the likelihood of it actually being the thing that they were looking for is so strange that it just makes me question the entire thesis that they've put out there about who Tyler Robinson is. And I think everyone needs to be able to really start questioning whether you can rely on the FBI or you can rely on Kash Patel or Dan Bongino to give you anything legitimate. They're not providing you with real factual information. I don't believe it. I don't believe that indictment or whatever it was called is is actually possible. I don't think that that's possibly the reality until we've seen the text messages themselves with the metadata of when they were sent from the phones that they allegedly said they were sent from. Until then, we've basically got someone who came up with a dialogue that fits a narrative that they wanted to pursue. And that's all the evidence we have, because as far as I know, Tyler Robinson has not spoken yet. He's not cooperating with police. He's not telling them what he knows.
That's what they're saying, that he's not cooperating with police. And out of that non-cooperation, what you're getting is a fire hose of information and supposition, not even information that you cannot prove. At all. We can't prove with any metadata that the readout of the text were real. We can't prove with any sort of certainty that he was doing this because of Charlie Kirk's anti-trans views, because in the actual exchange with no metadata, it just says, I just hate how much how he spreads hatred around the world, effectively is what he said. Had nothing to do with being trans. And the interesting part of that whole thing, that, to your point, and I go back to this all the time, show me. They tried to, and if you think about it, they haven't shown you anything. Number one,
they haven't shown you a thing.
But they're telling you with no uncertain terms, these were the texts, this was his motive, this is why he did it, right? And let's talk about the narrative that this fits into beautifully. 3 weeks prior to Charlie Kirk's death, they started a trans data registry because they were telling the world, trans people are killing all of us. Trans people are the biggest problem in society, because some fucking male swimmer that was transitioning to female raced with a whole bunch of fucking female swimmers. Like, honest to God, that was the cudgel. That was like, it's just the weak. I said this yesterday, the weakest fucking human beings on the planet, and they fucking focus on all the wrong people. But this is one that they're going to drive home. And the reason why it presents just another them that everybody can point to, because of their anti-trans rhetoric, they're now trying to frame the entire trans community as a terrorist organization who are out to kill everybody involved in MAGA. And that is why that bill exists, which in itself is, if you look at statistics, if you understand facts, if you look at ideologically motivated violence, IMVE, 90% of IMVE shit is committed by white men. Between the ages of like 16 to 34, usually incredibly. So where is that fucking bill?
Yeah.
Like, where is that fucking bill? To your point,
they are busy framing the entire trans community, and they are based on this one shooting incident that they claim is also related to trans shooting, to a trans community, but it is not. I mean, they're basically framing him potentially, and they're framing the entire community. And in the United States, it used to be that you were innocent until you were proven guilty.
But what's the connection? What's the connection? The connection is that this shooter, alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, his roommate was trans. That is the fucking connection?
And that they had some sort of romantic relationship. Well, let me break it to everybody that there are many instances where people might sleep with each other, which does not necessarily make them either trans or gay or, supportive or allied or anything of anybody. They just happen to have a sexual encounter with somebody. It's completely normal. I mean, unless I'm living in a completely different universe, sex happens between young people in universities. It's just a normal thing. So they're trying to take whatever might have happened between these two, frame it as a relationship. Then they're saying that it's this huge, that he's, somehow sympathetic and was committing the murder of Charlie Kirk for this roommate who he had a relationship with. And then on top of that, we sort of know that Charlie Kirk wasn't really that bad about gay people, especially towards the end. He was actually quite, he's not really discriminatory against them. He was more interested in their politics. So the whole thing doesn't stand up. And the fact that they were looking for a trans shooter and it happened to be someone related to the trans community also boggles the mind.
Dude,
the chance of that happening is impossible.
Not only is it statistically fucking impossible, not only does it boggle the mind. Let's go 2 weeks back, right after Charlie Kirk was shot, like the day after, right? Do you remember the Wall Street Journal? Remember the Wall Street Journal put out a piece? They found pro-trans engravings in bullets.
Right.
And then the Guardian was like, let's snap up that story and put that out. And the Sinclair Group put it out. And all the Trump media ecosystem started putting out, oh, see, it's trans.
Yeah.
Then the Wall Street Journal retracted it and said, "Oh fuck, sorry guys, we got it wrong. Is some gamer shit and some Groiper shit apparently from Discord and the deep web. They're meme related. Da 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 da." And then there was radio silence after that.
Not radio silence. Jimmy Kimmel gets fired for saying all of that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. And then prosecutor comes out. He's like, "Yeah, there was these engravings. We don't know what they mean, but catch fascist" comes out, and then all of a sudden, the trans conversation is now part of it. And he was sticking up for his trans boyfriend, and he was a radical left lunatic who was gay. And now we have to have a bill called TIVE that labels every trans person a fucking terrorist. Are you fucking kidding me? Can you not see the writing on the wall and the work and the fucking psyop that went in to this very thing? So now we have to question absolutely every goddamn fucking thing associated with anybody who is trying this case, who is presenting evidence in this case, in the murder of Charlie Kirk.
And the family and the suspect themselves. Who knows if they were paid to do this? I mean, it seems like there's a real possibility, if they're willing to accept all this evidence, which they're putting into this document as being real and theirs and valid from their phones, then, there's a real possibility that they have been paid off to do this. I mean, the whole thing is just... It does not add up to any scrutiny. It just doesn't. And, there's more evidence to point out the fact that he's a groiper than there is that he's a trans sympathizer.
And then you go to Kimmel. What Kimmel said, he's like, they're trying to present this like as if anybody other than one of their own killed him. And ABC fucking fires him for it. And now Kimmel's at his lawyer's office this afternoon readying a $2 billion lawsuit against ABC and
Which
Disney.
I hope he actually goes through with, because I think they'll find out that he was telling the truth. That there was a real possibility that this guy, this shooter, was one of their own. That he grew up.
There's
in a
supplementary
family.
investigation with that lawsuit, which will have to prove out what he is saying, and that's the difference. Jimmy's not suing ABC and Disney to get his fucking job back. Privately, had a conversation with a friend of his the other day. He was like, "Jimmy's never going to fucking work for ABC and Disney again. That is never happening. He's going to sue them all, and he's going to use this as an opportunity to get underneath the hood of what really fucking happened, to make sure that because Jimmy Kimmel's not going to go off and tell a lie in the middle of fucking late night, right? And there's so much fucking information out there specifically about this, about the radicalization of the young man that allegedly shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be an epic battle, but a battle that has the ability to do to Trump what the Epstein files are doing to Trump, which is, a civil fight, a civic fight, a fight for the truth that has nothing to do with why he got fired, has everything to do with, okay, fucking show me. Prove me wrong.
And what they're doing, and we'll get to Kimmel later on, so maybe we should do him next, but this whole notion, let's do Kimmel next, because there's this notion that they set him up. They basically, this is a hit job on Jimmy Kimmel. And in fact, it does seem like that's exactly what happened. I'm just going to fast forward here to the Kimmel part here. Disney indefinitely suspended Jimmy Kimmel's late night show. This is number 4, after FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr threatened the company with regulatory retaliation, telling a podcaster, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way." You won't get my accent of a mobster there, but
we can do this the easy way. We can do this the hard way.
Oh, I love you. Like a New Jersey mob boss, the suspension came after Kimmel made false comments linking Charlie Kirk's, not false comments, we're questioning those, Charlie Kirk's killer to a MAGA gang. Now, we're not sure whether those are real or not, but what's clear is that there was a performance, a orchestrated event that took place between the various affiliates in the Sinclair Group and in Nexstar Group, which led to this, to his firing. And it seems to have a lot more to do with business, Oracle, the world's richest man, and a desire to control all the media by Donald Trump. You've got the story on Dean Blundell.
Yeah, the Great Media Heist. It kind of hides behind your Greatest Heist series. Part 10, by the way, is out today. We'll get to that later on in the 5-stack. Such an incredible piece of investigative reporting. The Great Media Heist. Trump is buying America's reality. That's exactly what he's doing. And Jimmy Kimmel is just a symptom of that purchase. He's just the fallout of that purchase. Now, the thing is that a lot of people don't understand who owns who and who owns what, right? Now, if you want to map out that empire, super, super simple. Think about the people he's going after. Think about the people he's leaving alone. And then think about what his end game is. End game is a massive Trump media empire that not only kettles mainstream media through ownership, mergers, and buying derelict properties that are swimming in debt. CBS, Skydance, that was one of those purchases, $4.5 billion in debt. Larry Ellison said, no problem. I need $100 billion in one day. Let's just take care of that debt and I'll take over everything. Larry Ellison, one of Trump's chief oligarchs, and he's also the biggest private donor to Israel. So just put that in your back pocket.
World's richest man now, richer than Elon Musk.
Yeah, hard to do. Smart guy.
Yeah.
Strangely enough,
really, or just corrupted by
he might
ownership.
be, but like you don't get that kind of money without having some nuts and being a little bit smart.
He's a tough guy, I'm sure.
So Larry Ellison also owns the cloud storage units that house TikTok, and is also rumored to be one of the lead investors in the purchase of TikTok.
Indeed.
So just keep that in mind.
In fact, can I just pause you there? Because what really Oracle is much more than that. Oracle is the best streaming company for all these networks. So each one of these networks, like CBS has Paramount, Disney has Disney, there's Hulu out there. What are the other big ones? There's a bunch of them. You all own.
They're all powered by Oracle.
The best place to stream your stuff, the most reliable place is to put all your streams out there and make sure you get the most reliable streams out to people and get the best information, happens to be Oracle. Mm-hmm. Oracle very smartly is doing what cable companies would have loved to have done way back in the 80s when cable TV started. It is buying all the networks, so it can become both the provider of the content and the distributor of the content. Bam, that's a great thing for them.
The owner.
The owner and controller of the content. They want to be the universal, and because they are the owner of the pipes, they can offer really good deals, and they can offer a lot of what would they call it in the corporate world? Synergies. They'll call it synergies. They'll say that we could synergize all the costs that you have for streaming,
all the propaganda. We can just put it all into one hoop, and then we'll make everybody jump through it. And
meaning they'll get richer. Meaning they'll get more powerful, more richer, more wealthy, and then the poor stockholders of Disney or CBS don't have to burden themselves with the cost of streaming that are often plussed up because the Oracle needs its profit. It sells its streaming capability at a profit to Disney or to Paramount. So that's what's really going on. Is there is one monopoly that is really good at streaming, and they're now consuming all these networks. But what they're doing while they're trying to consume all these networks is destroying freedom of speech, and they also happen to be very pointedly owned by the Israeli Bibi Netanyahu network, which is a very powerful and really corrupt network. I mean, as far as you can see what's going on in Israel right now, those are the last people on earth you'd want to control the access to information or entertainment for all of the United States. But that is what's happening.
Yeah, so let's add that to the current existing landscape of Trump-affiliated media that is currently running amok and destroying your brains through your phones. So Fox News needs no introduction. Rupert Murdoch, he's been one of Trump's best friends. He made it incredibly possible for Trump to do what he's done. He has been distorting reality. Some will call him the worst import in America ever. He remains MAGA HQ. He owns the New York Post. I believe he owns the Wall Street Journal now. That falls under his
Murdoch,
his purview. Then you've got Warner Brothers. They don't like him. That's where Larry Ellison comes in. Warner Brothers is owned by David Zaslav and John Malone, both MAGA guys that have tried to pivot the network but had a hard time doing it and had to cut costs because everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing? And my God, do we have one Wajid Ali from the Left Hook on the show? Look at this.
Hey, Waj, what's going on?
I was just... I'm in Canada right now, Dean, with your people. I'm in Edmonton. There's a beach here in Canada. Everyone's nice and chill, and I wonder why. Oh, maybe because they don't have a deranged freak as a leader who's willing to use and abuse the state apparatus to crush all their critics. And I just got off a great conversation with Jared, and I'm like, oh, Zev and Dean are talking. Let me see what they're talking about. So I hope you all can hear me and my internet's okay. But I was listening to what Zev was saying, and it's true. Look, a big piece of news that people aren't paying attention to, and the crackdown on free speech. Yes, Trump openly, I think illegally, because these people are so effing stupid. Thank God they openly admit their plot. Like literally, if they ever actually if Brendan Carr ever gets investigated and tried, which he should, he literally admits the plot of extortion and then tweets about it, and then Donald Trump comes on the back end and admits it. Exquisite. But another thing that's happening that I think Zev was talking about, what I caught, is the billionaires, the broligarchy.
Yeah.
This is the billionaires drinking up all of our milkshake, right? This is on the back end in order to make the merger work between Sinclair and Tenga, where they, instead of controlling 30% of local affiliates, they're going to control 80% of local affiliates. They did extortion, and they said, okay, we'll give Donald Trump, our king, his tribute, the quid pro quo. You want the scalp of Kimmel? Here you go. Please, FCC, make sure this merger goes through. And the FCC says, okay, you did the right thing. The merger will go through. This just happened with Paramount and Skydance. I think what Zev was talking about, right? That's why they gave the bribe to Donald Trump, $16 million plus the scalp of Colbert. Will you make this merger go through? He goes, okay, we'll make the merger go through. And David Ellison, Nepo baby, is now in charge of Paramount. And for those who don't know, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in late. If this is, you've already talked about this.
No, you're crushing it, dude. You're picking up right where we were going. So good work. Yeah.
David Ellison, the Nepo baby, is the son of Larry Ellison. As Zev was saying, and this is important, right? I'm not conspiracy theorist, but we have to know. Larry Ellison is the wealthiest Zionist in the world. Hard right, pro-Israel, Trumper. David Ellison, Trumper, right? There's a reason why David Ellison, once he bought CBS, the running CBS, why is he overpaying Barry Weiss's free press $200 million? Like literally everyone's like, what? Maybe you could buy her for 20 million. So he's literally gifting her, bringing her on allegedly to run CBS News, to basically give cover for Israel's genocide and to crush the woke. That's literally what's happening. David Ellison's father, Larry Ellison, one of the richest people on earth, now has made the bid, as Zev was saying, for TikTok, and also is making the bid for Warner Discovery. So those who don't know how monopolies work, this is what it's going to mean. They're going to take all your milkshake. It's going to be David Ellison and Larry Ellison. They'll be controlling Paramount, CBS, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon. If this merger goes through, TikTok, Warner Brothers.
And then it gets cut off. Well, you got cut off. I'm not sure if it's the Canadians or the Americans, Waj, but I'll complete the list for you if you can rejoin us. Can you rejoin us? It was CNN. It's pity you got cut off there. Hopefully, you'll rejoin us in a minute now. But it's true. This is what's going on. You include CNN in that list that he was putting up. There he is. There's Waj.
There you go. We lost you at CNN, Waj.
All right. And CNN. Yeah. Sorry, continue. Zev, take it away. My internet.
No. I was just filling in the blanks for you.
No, go ahead. You stopped at CNN, and then you got to keep going down the list.
Yeah, CNN, HBO, Warner Brothers, DC Movies, Discovery Channel. So you add all that up, and now you have, say, a Barry Weiss, whose free press, for those who don't know, is a salon for the privileged. Right? It's funded by, who funds it is Billionaires, and one of her biggest funders is David Sachs. David Sachs is part
of
the
crypto czar.
Sachs is the czar of AI and crypto, but not only that, not only is he Trump czar of AI and crypto, David Sachs is part of the PayPal mafia. Mm-hmm. David Sachs, Peter Thiel, and Elon Musk are part of the PayPal mafia, and also a hardcore Zionist. And he's the one who is in the ear of Barry Weiss, one of the major funders. So it's right there, folks. Just connect the dots, Steven Zev.
By the way, David Sachs also born in South Africa, left South Africa when he was young at 4, but has always regretted the end of apartheid. He's a real apartheid believer amongst the other South African-related PayPal mafia guys, Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. There's a whole lot of apartheid-loving folk in that group. And David Sachs is one of those people, even though he lived in Tennessee for most of his life, or I think Tennessee for most of his life. But your point about Barry Weiss, absolutely, she's the most unbelievably poor choice for a president of CBS News, and the fact that they're actually buying her enterprise, which, as you point out, is nowhere near $200 million, but that they're paying anything like that to her is just a sign that she is willing to sell out, but she's got a very high price, and that was the price, $200 million. But the bigger picture of what you're talking about, Waj, is absolutely true. They are building a giant monopoly here based on the fact that Oracle has cheap streaming or very capable streaming capability. They're going to consume every single major conglomerate that controls media right now, including Disney, including Paramount. They've already done that, and WB and CNN and HBO, everything that falls into that. They're going to consume it all. They're going to control the pipes. They're going to control the content. And no one will be able to believe anything else except what this machine, controlled by algorithms that still may have control out of Beijing, mind you, because the TikTok algorithms will still be written in Beijing. And there you'll go. The entire American broadcast sphere will be controlled by Chinese influence and Israeli influence via this giant monopoly that will be Oracle.
And, the fascinating part here is that for a lot of people that look at a firing of Jimmy Kimmel or the 6-month firing of Stephen Colbert or the gaslighting of an entire nation when it comes to mergers and acquisitions, or Donald Trump sitting on Air Force One the other day going, yeah, well, they say bad things about Trump. I think they should lose their license. What you don't understand is the backstory of what we're talking about, which is this isn't just an attempt to silence his critics. This is an attempt to continue build a media empire to control the means of distribution, the means of content creation. And when you control both of those things, you're going to get one message and one message only. And you're going to have 80% of the United States, 80% of Americans are going to have to go through that straight pipe just to be able to be entertained or informed. And if you think for a fucking second that pathological liar in the Oval Office for a second is going to allow dissension of any variety onto any different aspects of what he's trying to build, you're crazy, because he's not. That's the entire end game, Waj. That's all I see.
No, and you know what, folks? We already have models. This has happened in Russia. This is happening in Hungary. This is happening in India. This is happening in Turkey. The strong man gets all his rich friends to gobble up all the resources. The oligarchy controls everything.
Yep.
State message, one message. Don't believe the evidence of your eyes and ear. Only believe what Big Brother tells you. Just look at Russia. The model has been perfected in Russia, in Hungary, also in Turkey, also in India. It's the same exact thing that's happening here. And furthermore, you made a good point, Dean, where the reason why you're seeing some people like Barry Weiss, finally, Barry Weiss of the Free Press actually stood up for the Free Press yesterday in her tweet, and Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal also cracked down and took a critique of what they did with Kimmel, and also Tucker Carlson did, because they're not stupid. They know that Donald Trump is extremely vindictive and extremely fickle. They remember Liz Cheney used to be a supporter for Donald Trump until she was, and then he imagined her facing a military tribunal. They remember Mike Pence running for his life on January 6th, right? And right now, there's 3 fissure points within Republican Party, which the genies have escaped. The monster has escaped the lab. Epstein, they can't control the narrative on Epstein. The shooting and the texts and the FBI cover-up. I've been watching, Zev, I wanted to talk to you about this next week when I come back, because like you, I've been a masochist and watching Candace Owens just to see the fissures in MAGA, folks. It's wild.
It's
wild.
Good, though. I mean, she's got a point. She's got some points that are very valid.
To quote Ken Watanabe from Godzilla, let them fight. And so Epstein is one. They can't put the genie in the bottle. They cannot put this FBI, what they call a cover-up, bottle. They can't. It's done. Candace Owens, Cat Turd, Mike Savage, all these people are like, I don't buy it. And then the third one is Israel. Third one's Israel. You see Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, about a third of MAGA says we're done with the genocide, America first, right? So what do you think is going to happen? They realize if you let Donald Trump get away with this and crush anyone who doesn't say anything that he likes, oh shit, they're going to come after me. And the analogy I want to give to people, because it's just my excuse to bring up this analogy because it's a great movie. Daniel Day-Lewis in this movie, There Will Be Blood.
My favorite movie of all time, by the way, easily.
You know it. He explains to Paul Dano's character why he was able to win. And he explains capitalism. He explains American capitalism in the most beautiful way. I took a straw and I went into your milkshake and I drank all your milkshake. And now I have all the milkshake and you have no more milkshake.
I drink it up. Yes,
it is.
I drink it up.
It is exactly what's going on.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Listen, it is. The wild part to me, Waj and Zev, the wild part to me is, as someone who came from mainstream media, Waj, you came from mainstream media, Zev, you came from mainstream media, you understand that you don't work for the free press. If you know what the conversations
Work for the
are, that your
boss. You
your
work for the
boss,
guy in charge.
you work for the boss, and you also serve at the pleasure of that boss's executive relationships. I got fired from a gig, 10, 12 years ago, doing a morning show in Toronto. Zev, you're very familiar with it. And the reason why I got fired is because I mocked a gay rapist. And what happened was a whole bunch of people in the gay community came after me. I got a note after. They're like, "We got you. Don't ever fuck with us," and stuff like that. I'm like, "Ah, you got me. You totally got me. You painted me as anti-gay and stuff like that." But the conversations that I had with my bosses were like, "You have destroyed this relationship with this Politico. You have upset the balance when it comes to PR around our shareholders." It was all about money and reputation and who I pissed off. And they said to me point blank in my exit interview, which was really, really funny, by the way, I wouldn't come down. They're like, "Come down and we'll do this on the in person." I'm like, "I'm not spending gas money for this. Like, you can just fire me on the phone." And so I get on the phone and they're like, "Okay, so you've really upset the board." And the board is really pissed off because they don't want to go through a legal dance that they have to protect what you said. And so, because of your salary, it's a true story, and because we're just not interested in this fight, and because you've upset the stakeholders of this company, we're firing you. We're going to fire you. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I get it." That was binary back in the day. What's happening in the United States is Donald Trump and all of them serve at that executive level. They all serve those executive relationships because they all feel the same pain, the same threat, because they don't want to have to ante up. They want to be able to get these mergers and acquisitions done. They don't want their share prices to drop. They want IPOs. They want all of those things. This was a business decision on behalf of ABC and Disney, but more importantly, a guy like Jimmy Kimmel, he still works for somebody else. And this is what gets lost in the translation, right? Is that if you don't understand what's at stake here, what you have to also understand is not just what's at stake when it comes to free speech, but we were kind of never really afforded that free speech, which is why guys like you, Waj, guys like me, guys like Zev, ply our trade on fucking Substack because no one can tell us what to say or do.
Can I get you let's into a secret here though about how the networks really work? Because I was in there and witness to all of this. So the media mafia in New York has always existed. All these guys, all the bigwigs from every one of these networks know each other really well and they cooperate with each other all the time. They have lunch in one of two places every day, two Italian places. One is across the road from CBS. The other one is a little closer to ABC. They're all there every day. Some of the biggest network anchors, at least this used to be the case, the biggest owners of everything. And they do a lot of business around those Italian, food places. And you walk in there and you realize
like the mob.
They are the mob. They are not like the mob. They are the mob. And that they do is all determined. When I was at CBS, I was doing the morning show and I thought, well, there was this really unusual story out of, I think it was, was it Iowa that first had gay marriage show up as an issue? And I started covering this thing. I was like, well, it's really strange that a U.S. state is approving gay marriage in this environment. This is 2008, 9, whatever it was. And I started covering it repeatedly on the show, and I got told many, many times to stop covering that story by various people in the upper ranks of CBS. Not the editorial people, the management people at CBS, the highest of the lot of them. And I kept doing it because it's my job to cover the news. I'm going to keep reporting it. And I think at the end of the day, it did end up costing me my job, or that, plus having Adam, what's the guy's name from the American Idol who kissed some guy, Adam... does Queen. Anyhow.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
The singer. I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah, and so, but my point is that these guys run everything like the mafia. So you can't get, like, if you get fired by CBS, you're not going to get rehired by any of the networks if they don't want you to be rehired by any of the networks. And it's been this way for a long time. So what's really going on with this consolidation is just that they're all lumping their stuff into one big, article box. But in reality, they've been operating kind of like this for a long time. And this is what's wrong. Adam Lambert, thank you. And this is what's wrong with the environment that exists right now. This is how we got to the hell we're in. But people ask, why didn't the networks cover Epstein? It's because of this mafia. But people didn't cover Epstein. They didn't cover Trump. They didn't cover a lot of things over the years because this mafia kept deep control over everything that comes out of those networks. And that is the fundamental problem with American broadcasting in general.
Now, keep in mind, that was when we had a plurality of owners.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about ultra consolidation and those people that, there you go. 5. Go ahead. Yeah.
Now we're talking five. Now, if this consolidation goes through, that means about 5 entities run by billionaires will control nearly 90%. And so and back in the day, it used to be just like a couple of more, right? So now it's going to be even more consolidated. Again, Russia's your model. An oligarch with his broligarchy friends who crushes dissent, and they just drink everyone's milkshake. And just look at ABC. I mean, if you just look at this past week, it proves what Zev just said. According to reporting, ABC executives said, yeah, what Jimmy Kimmel said was fine. It wasn't that bad at all. And if you actually go listen to him, he didn't say anything wrong. He talked about MAGA freaking out because they tried to make this shooter into a flaming lefty liberal Antifa, and it ended up not being that guy. So they were trying all weekend to make him a leftist, and he wasn't that. That's all he said. And he was right. Nothing. Yeah. And they privately, according to their hush-hush meetings, right, where they were freaking out after Brendan Carr literally extorted them and threatened them, there's like, yeah, actually, what he said was perfectly fine. But you know what? We're scared of Trump threatening us. So what did they do? They bent the knee. And remember, Dean and Zev, I want to bring the receipts. We kept warning them. If you bend a knee to a tyrant, just like if you bend a knee to a bully, what happens? The bully comes back the next week. The first week he says, give me your lunch. Then he says, oh, this weak little bitch, he gave me his lunch. All right, I'm going to go take next week. Give me your lunch and go buy me a Coke. Then the week after that, oh, buy me a cookie, right? And so what happened is ABC threw George Stephanopoulos under the bus, folks. I want to remind you all, George Stephanopoulos was protected. He said Donald Trump was a rapist. For all intents and purposes, Donald Trump was held liable for sexual assault. Even the judge in that case said, for all intents and purposes, rape and sexual assault is interchangeable. They're protected. New York Times versus Sullivan, First Amendment. ABC, much like what New York Times did, they would have gotten that ish thrown out. 12B6. New York Times just got that bullshit lawsuit thrown out today, right?
Yeah, today, yeah.
What did they do? They chose to give Donald Trump money. Oh, if we give him money, we'll be safe. Then a couple of days ago, if you all remember, I think it was 3 days ago now, Jonathan Karl of ABC, the most centrist, milquetoast, establishment guy, asking him a simple question about Pam Bondi and hate speech. And Trump says, well, you got hate speech. ABC is hate speech. ABC gave me millions of dollars. You're hate speech. Maybe I'll go after you, right? And then AB bends the knee again. CBS bent the knee, right? All Washington Post gets rid of Karen Attiah, bent the knee. For no reason, Matthew Dowd was right. Yep. He didn't say anything wrong. NBC bends the knee, right? Yep. And so my whole take on this, do you feel safer? Do you feel that you're protected? I give you Qatar. Qatar gives them $400 million jet. If we give this mother effer a $400 million jet, surely we'll be safe. And Israel does hold my Diet Coke and bombs Qatar, which has the biggest U.S. base. And then literally, Donald Trump is like, oh, they did it without us. Oh, never mind, they did it with us. Oh, and the Qatar's pissed. Yeah. So, I mean, it just goes to show you in real time, folks, they don't care. And I think you made a good point, Dean, is they don't care. If they fired you because they really cared about gay people, okay. But it's like the NFL and racism. But at the same time, let's do a tribute to Charlie Kirk, who said black people were better off. And they don't give a shit about African American History Month, Pride Month, Muslims, immigrants. It's all about the dollar, Dean. Yeah, it's all it is.
Yeah, and you know what? Rupert Murdoch, I got about 7% left on my phone, so we might have to wrap it up soon. Rupert Murdoch said it best, and I think that encapsulates what Donald Trump is trying to do in conglomerating and aggregating 80 to 90% of the means of distribution and content creation in the United States. The truth isn't always black and white. Sometimes it's green. And listen, we can be angry about it, but give credit where credit's due. Donald Trump has harangued and corralled the broligarchy, every major social media enterprise, every major media company in the United States, and the ones that aren't are bleeding out, and they are currently being gobbled up by guys like Ellison. And the game is here, like it's on. The idea that this is anything other than, post Joseph Goebbels given the green light to go ahead and nationalize every single media enterprise in Germany back in the 30s and 40s is crazy, because that's what's happening. It's the same playbook. Orban did it. Go after their money, go after their donors, go after their people, label them as terrorists. That's the importance of the Antifa designation. Any support, any dissension. And Donald Trump, and I go back to this all the time, and I haven't written about it because it just was stunning, and I'm like, there's enough people talking about it. Air Force One the other day. Do you think that people should be put in jail or licenses should be fucking pulled for negative reporting on you? He said yes. He said yes.
He believes it. The one thing, just before we go, I think it's really important that people realize that Oracle has the pipes. The reason that Oracle is buying everything is because they're the best streamers in the world. And we have always had a rule in the world of broadcasting that you don't let the distributors of the content own the content. You separate those two. You can't have the people who own the distribution mechanism also be the owners of all the networks. It's the height of monopolistic thinking. It's terrible for diversity of thinking. It's terrible for free speech. And it's terrible for the consumer because they're not getting any real choice. At the end of the day, whatever Oracle wants will be what they pass on, including the cost of whatever it is they decide to consumers. So, that's a really important point. If Democrats are looking for a play, focus on that. Separate the pipes from the content creators. And I just want to say about Waj, Ali, and about you, Dean, everyone should be subscribing to your fantastic Substacks, because both of them are bar none, some of the best content out there. And Waj, I don't know how you do the amount of hours that you do every day, but it is a pleasure to watch every time you're on. You're so knowledgeable.
Please tell me the answer to that is stimulants.
No, I've never drank alcohol in my life. I don't do drugs. This is just, can you imagine if I actually drank and did drugs? My God.
Oh my gosh, days. It'll be like the marathon. It'll be endless watch for 6 days in a row.
And I don't have ADHD either. I promise. People are like, well, I just think, I care. That's my problem. I care. And I perhaps work a lot. And I feel like, let me put it this way. I feel like we have the numbers. The way to fight back is we have the numbers. They don't have the numbers. We have the numbers. And what Zev said, the winning message, it's right there for the Democrats. If they weren't such cowards, it's us versus the 1%, the many versus the 1%, the majority versus the elites, the 99% versus the billionaires. We will fight for the people. We will make America affordable again. We will take on the billionaires. Whoever grabs that message, Zev and Dean, will literally become the next president of the United States of America. And finally, I will say, you have a choice, folks. These people, Zev knows them, I know them, Dean knows them. We've all worked in these circles, whether it's in Canada or New York, we know them. You know what they love more than anything else? Money. The color green trumps the color white. Green. If you cancel Hulu, Disney, if you stop watching, these folks will dance on a dime and turn, folks. So don't support them. Do buy-ins to good organizations and do buyouts. I'm telling you, the CEO of Target, after 11 years, was forced to resign because all the people said, oh, you don't want black and brown business? F you, Target. We'll go to Costco. And then guess what? Now they're like, oh, shit, what do we do? Because foot traffic has gone down and the CEO left. And so just for the people who are truth tellers, we try our best to be honest. Everything is free on the left hook. Subscribe to Dean, subscribe to Zev. If you have a few bucks, give it to Dean and Zev. If there's a couple bucks left over, give it to me because I have 800 kids. And let's actually buy Dean a friggin' phone charger, for the love of God.
I am about to send you the Amazon link. I won't pay for it, but I'm going to send you the link.
Someone just send them $10 right now. Let him buy a phone charger.
You need it, man.
Listen, buddy, enjoy Canada. I hope that the vibe up here is much needed medicine for you, my friend.
Yes.
No, thank you. It's awesome, man. Thank you all. Take care, everyone.
Cheers,
Talk to you soon. Waj Ali, the left hook. Give him a sub.
From Edmonton. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, he's in Edmonton doing a feature. I don't know what kind of feature he's doing. He didn't expound on it. It's got to be going to be secretive. I wonder what it's all
Is he an
about.
actor? Is he an actor? Did we know him as an actor?
I don't know, man. It might be a news feature, but listen, I co-sign everything that man just said. It was funny, you know. I saw him come in the room, and I'm like, let's bring Waj on because we had a 5-stack, but we were in the meat of probably the most important story you need to be aware of, which is the consolidation of the reality that you live in, and the effort for Donald Trump to legitimately completely collapse the information ecosystem in the United States to a propaganda straight pipe that goes right into your phone and your brain. You have to be aware, America, and it's never been more important. And I say this to end and I'm not going to apologize for it, to support, subscribe, and share. Support, subscribe, share. Content like this, content like Waj, Midas, Zev's greatest heist series, which is absolutely fantastic. You've got I believe episode number 10, which talks about how legitimately you have to go read it. You sent it to me prior to coming on, and I'm like, oh my God, he literally was just a Russian money launderer. That's all
he was a
Russian
money launderer. And then the bombshell that's buried in there is that, you know, Jeffrey Epstein knew Ghislaine Maxwell when she was a teenager. When she was 13 or 15, that's when he met Robert Maxwell, not 1990, 15 years later, which is what she claims.
I didn't know
it was 15 years earlier. So what does that do to that whole narrative? Well, it changes everything, and you can read all about it on The Greatest Heist.
Yeah. I encourage everybody to do it. Every single one of those episodes has been absolutely not just enlightening, but aha moments that I've had reading your content. And please feel free to come and subscribe to my channel as well. We've got 50% off for the rest of the month. Your support is incredible. It keeps us moving forward. It keeps us going. It keeps us keeping on. And I say this all the time. Doesn't matter where we are. We're all going through this with you. You know, yesterday, the U.S. ambassador to Canada, MAGA operative cosplaying as an ambassador, Pete Hoekstra, you know what he said? I'll tell you what he said, and I'll end with this. I'm disappointed that I'm here in Canada. Like, he's disappointed he came. And then he blamed the trade war on Canada, called us all anti-Canadians, and sneered at us for saying we had anti-American, sneered at us for having an issue with what's going on in the United States. This is the greatest compliment ever paid to us by any dumb maggot like Pete Hoekstra, who is a far-right operative pretending to be an ambassador in Holland who fucking got summarily kicked out. So he's now applying his trade here. This is why we do what we do. We do this so that we can push back. We do this so we can inform. We do this so we can affirm. But more importantly, we do this because nobody else that has control of licenses and massive platforms and television stations will. So really grateful that we could be here with you all today. We'll be back on Monday with the 5-stack at 3 o'clock. Thank you so much for your support. Continue to be part of the resistance. What's so funny over there? Why are you smiling?
I'm going to get you a charger. You need a charger. You're going to get a dongle. I'm getting a dongle for Christmas.
It's been an hour. We're good.
You got an hour. I know, but you don't have to worry about these things. These things can be taken care of if you just.
All right, I'll get a dongle. I'll go get one as soon as we're done. I know. I got to get it.
But it's so much easier for you. You can have hours and hours of.
I was busy on my phone today. I forgot to charge it. Sorry.
DeanBundell.substack.com is where you find Dean's amazing content. There's a lot of the stories we didn't get to today that are on his Substack, and you can find my stuff at narrative.org, NARATIV.org. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday. Bye, everyone.
Bye, all.